Here in Paris, the French Parliament will vote later today on a text asking the EU to add the Wagner Group to its list of terrorist organisations. The Russian mercenary group, headed by Yevgeny Prigozhin, has played a conspicuous role in Ukraine. It's also been accused of conducting human rights abuses on the African continent. The European Union having already added Wagner to its list of sanctioned individuals and entities earlier in the year. Joining me now is Wassim Nasr, the France 24's jihadism specialist. Wassim, what led to Wagner committing these massacres?
Well, actually, it all began with other groups like Wagner mercenary groups that acted in Syria with extreme violence. And what's Wagner doing today, they have done in Africa and doing today in Ukraine, is just to follow up at what already happened in Syria. And we can look at a map to see what happened in Mali. And those are the areas where Wagner is present in Mali, and in orange dots are the areas of operations. And we see that on spot, on the ground, they didn't have any results against jihadi groups still active in the areas that we see, regarding also the latest attack a few weeks ago in Sevare, where Al-Qaeda targeted specifically Wagner present at the airport of Sevare. We have another map where we can look at all the attacks that were made against civilians in central Mali, to answer your questions, and that were conducted hand in hand with the Malian army. And at that time, the Malians had arrested one of the wives of Amadou Koufa, number 2 of Al-Qaeda in central Mali. And regarding what she says, they conducted operations with Wagner. And we see here on the map all the areas where they conducted operations. And we see that those areas are the areas where massacres were committed, knowing that they didn't get to catch Mohammed Koufa, so they killed innocent civilians, and the highest number of civilians killed on one time during like 5 days, it was in Moura. More than 300 persons were killed, knowing that the next day jihadis came back to the town. So there is no territorial control of Wagner, but just operations, spread operations on Malian soil.
So what areas in the region are they actually operating?
Well, actually today in Africa, we know that they are operating in the Central African Republic, and we know that they are active in Sudan too, but militarily active in the African Central Republic, in Libya, and in Mali. People are saying that they are active in Burkina Faso, but up to this point we don't have any proof. And we know that when they got active in Mali, it was to fight jihadis. But we can see on a map now that their presence in Mali was rather positive for jihadis, because by kicking the French out, jihadis were permitted to have a stronghold in Mali without airstrikes and without special forces operating against them in Mali, which helped them to spread in the region, Niger, Burkina Faso, all the way to Togo, Benin, and the Ivory Coast next door. And we even see that all the yellow dots are Al-Qaeda presence, the green is Islamic State presence, and in between, if you can see, the small white dots are areas where jihadis are fighting each other, knowing even the presence of Wagner on the ground didn't even avoid that jihadis fight each other today. So the outcome of Wagner in Africa is rather positive for jihadi groups.
So, I mean, with that in mind, are they having any significant impact at all on jihadist activity?
They are having a positive impact on jihadi activity in the Sahel. The only strategic goal that they achieved was kicking France out.
Wassim Nasr, thank you so much for that.